Hey folks, we're going to do some more creature token art for the Eberron adventure in Karnath, fighting undead crystals of Mabar. It'll be on the DM's Guild. Give me a second here to check my signal, make sure I'm coming through. I'll go through my intro spiel, and then we'll get to work here for a couple hours. So, is that that is not the one. Where am you? Let's find current. There we are. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. There we are. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. There we are. Yep, sounds fantastic. All right, let me go ahead and grab this up. I'm going to go ahead and go through my intro spiel, and then we'll get to, what is it, 7:42? We'll get to work for a couple hours. Let's see. So, if you're catching this in the future and you've seen the intro before, you can go ahead and skip it. But for folks that are here live with us tonight, and for those that are new in the future, hi future. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years. And there is a slew of links in the description down below to things that I've already published before. They all have extensive free previews. So if you're on a desktop, if you click into each of the books, underneath the book cover, the cover painting is it'll be a link that says full preview, and if you are on a mobile device, there will be, one second, there we go, there'll be an eye icon on the right hand side of the screen. So mobile device, eye icon, desktop, whatever, full preview, either one of them will pop up in a PDF. You can read through the documents, everything that I've created, everything that I create. I'm a DM. I run games from level 1 to 20 in between about 200 to 250 hours. Then we start over a new campaign. While I so the things that I build are things I want to play or things that I've created during the course of the adventure. So that's the kind of stuff that I have in the books down below. Tools as a DM at all tiers of play that I found to be useful. You may too. Otherwise, if you're just here for the artwork, there's about 150 different illustrations in there, and if you do search by artist on DM's Guild, you find about 100 different projects at this point that people have used my stock art in. So check all my stuff out if you want. You can join me on Patreon if you want to throw me some dollars and be part of playtests in the future. I just posted that I'm live here on Twitter X. If you're still on this platform, you can catch me at Phil Kearney. Best way to support the growth of the stream is to like, subscribe, hit the button. We gained more follow. We gained more. What's the word I'm supposed to use? Our posse grew by another crewman since lunch. God bless. Thank you. I love having you on board. Thanks. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, get notifications when I'm live in the future. Let's see. This is Eberron Art Stream. Here's the full playlist of all the maps, all the design work that we've done, all the other illustrations that have already been produced. We're up here to episode 183 right now. We're on lucky number 13, working on creature tokens. So we made this book cover back around episode 40. You can jump into the Wayback Machine here, the playlist, to go check us making this. But for today, as I have been threatening, we are going to, we're working on creature tokens. So we've got a slew of different creature tokens. We've got the Plague Oak, and then we have the Living Grave. We have a White. We have Sturge. We have a Revenant. We have Bone Knight. I'm really looking forward to working on him. Yeah, you hoss. Maybe we should spend time there. Shadow Mastiff. Love that little bulldog. Black Ooze. Currently only gray. This is a drowned assassin. Those guys are so cool. Oh man, they have what, Last Among Us kind of, not Last Among Us. Anyway, whatever. I can't think of the name of the TV show / game that came out with the myconids growing out of people's heads. Yeah, Plague Hounds, yo, what's up? Barghest, a Altiug, an Assassin Vine, Roper. Shambling Mound. Can you see how the quality on these things are well, this is okay. Ghoul, Long Dead, and then Fresh Dead. You notice the difference here between, like, here's a Long Dead, which is basically a crystal encrusted skeleton that attacks creatures, right? And now let's compare that to a living grave. You notice a degradation of quality as we go further down the list here. It's because that was the very early stuff. Now, I have a problem when I'm building something that as I get more and more in the groove of doing it, I just keep pushing up the level of quality that's in it. So there's an obvious disparage from the front end to the back end of a document. So I have to keep cycling through things and breaking up the different sections of the books. So like if you check out the artwork that I do on Spelljammer Combat and Exploration in the mornings, you'll see that I'm jumping around from section to section and working on different chapters at different times. That way, there's no linear path from good to bad or bad to good. I want to break it all up in there so the quality, if there's a limit among them, and there are some limits, of course, then it gets interspersed actually really good art. So I like go picking through things. In the future, if I need to update the thing, I can catch sight of those lemons, because you don't always see them at first. They always look cool when you're done with them, but then as time wears on, you're like, the polish wears off, you start seeing the cracks on it, and it needs to be refurbished. So I'm going to be doing that with the 5-color mana spell point variant rules that I already have published on the DMsGuild down below. You can check that out if you want. We're going to go through an update in 2024 when Wizards updates the 5th edition rules, and we get to integrate Strixhaven and Theros into the document. I am absolutely going to do that online. That's going to be fucking fun. So people don't resonate as much with page layouts, but thank you, Timely Timer. I've got a 20-minute timer going to make sure I don't fall down any rabbit holes too severely, but I am here to do detail work today, so tally ho. If you're new to the channel, I am here 6 days a week live, streaming artwork or game design for Dungeons & Dragons. That may change in the future, probably mostly based on how WotC treats third market producers like me. If they start sweetening the deal to invite us into doing stuff, then I'll lean into 5e. If they start to push us away, then I'll probably just do Creative Commons something. So, but I'm anticipating getting into Creative Commons stuff by, I think, 2026. I'll start doing Kickstarters. Hey, Koala, what's going on then, guy? Hold on, let me get my screen properly fixed here so I can actually see your full sentence. There we go. Let's fix that. I'm doing detail work on creature art today. What's up, my dude? Right on. Yeah, we're doing detail work. If you've been catching my flow of conversation here, it's I have a disparage from the front to the back of a project over time. I just kind of get in a groove, and I just naturally try to push up the level of quality in the piece. So I have to float back around to the beginning of the document to make sure that I can at least attempt to have a matching level of quality. And the fucking worst is when you evolve in the middle of a project. I mean, God bless, I'll take the level when I can get it. It's like if you're playing Vampire Survivor, you're not going to take your level up. Just take the level up. And so you take it, but that also means that everything that I created previously may no longer be on par with where we're at in the project and where I'm evolving into. In larger projects, there's a good chance that I can trigger a level up maybe 3 or 4 times across like maybe if I'm working on something intensely, I might have a level up every 3 months at this point. So I'm about 50. I've been playing D&D since I was 12. I've been DMing since I was 14. Played every edition, very little of 4E because I was in my 30s and doing career and family stuff, so I didn't have as much game time. But during that time, I did run I was a moderator on a play-by-post site called RPG Crossings. And I ran about 3 Eberron campaigns ranging from level 5 to 19 in 3rd edition on the play-by-post forums. So I didn't have live time, but I did a shitload of writing. And that really gave me an opportunity to really enjoy. God, there's so many different varieties of game in D&D and other systems that I've had the opportunity to experience over the past 36 years. That it's neat to see how they can coalesce into projects that I'm interested in doing. What's up? So yeah, you've been you learning to paint minis lately, and the same thing happens. Yeah, exactly right. It's really funny that when the first model is set. Yeah, thank you. All artists, we're all the same. It's just what little piece do we obsess over? It's like sculptors, I think, like glass blowers. I've seen that Blown Away show. I think that's what it's called. Blown Away. It's like some Netflix reality TV show competition between glass blowers, and boy, there's not a lot of competitive glass blowers out there. So I think it's lasted 2 seasons. Anyway, but yeah, like can you imagine being obsessed with blowing glass? Like just the shit you have to go through to make that happen, or like carving in marble. Like just like the level of skill that you are going to achieve, that you are confident that you can cut into a $6,000 slab of marble and knowing at the back end of it's going to come out good. That's like 3-dimensional tattoo level confidence. I'm just a fucking hack that uses the back button like all the time. So like there's like man. And I don't even exist in the 3D space. I'm only digital, man, so mad props to you. I do like Bash Kit YouTube channels, though. I can't remember the name of the 40K guy. But like, he makes monsters out of tanks and stuff like that, and he does a lot of really creative stuff. It's not relevant to anything I do, but it is a different medium, so it helps me think about space and like stacking stuff up and all that blah-de-blah when it comes to building compositions and art, so... I love how all the different arts are so interconnected with each other. It's really fun. Yeah, so we're doing this Eberron adventure for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and there's random tables of different creatures that can attack you at various points in the environment that you're traversing and exploring. And so I'm making unique creature tokens for each of them. And then these are included with the adventure as a zip file. So like there's gonna be like, I don't know, probably like 50 tokens. It's like 6 massive maps. Like the biggest map we have is 74 inches by 74 inches with 1-inch squares, like for 5 feet. It fits okay in a virtual tabletop, but we had to build it so we could break it up into pieces. So you could print it through in black and white or in color. Like we have just like line art for the black and white, like a laser printer, so it's minimal cost. But then you can, like, if you're in a virtual tabletop space, it's a 75 by 75 grid full color map with layering, and like you can lift the lids off of things. Otherwise, you're looking at rooftops. It's pretty fucking dope. I'm really proud of it. That was that was like the first. I want to say like the first 130 episodes of this of the playlist I have linked down below. So yeah, everyone's dope. It is called. It's something that Andy Headley, Stuart Braz, and I created. It's called Crystals of Mabar. Here it is, COM. I'm going to change the fonts in the top, but yeah, it's an 8th level adventure. It's about going into Karnath. A cult of Emerald Claw necromancers found an artifact called the Eye of Mabar that if they take it down into this forgotten laboratory that's underground, they can create this ritual that basically creates like an incubator crystal that the Eye of Mabar sits inside of, and as it sucks up life force and hit dice from things sacrificed to it, it gains CR, so it becomes a higher level Ultraloth. And while this is happening, it's bonding the plane of Mabar as a coterminous event site on this necromancy lab, and like within like a mile of it, and it keeps expanding. And so the longer the ritual remains, the larger the manifest zone gets, and everything inside the manifest zone is being terraformed into this plane of darkness where there is no sunlight, yet it has an ecology, it has a world. So we have all these different plants that exist inside of the manifest zone, and how it like it pollutes reality around it. So you go in and you're supposed to shut it down or take control of it depending on what your mission is. So it's 8th level characters for D&D 5th edition. The map is symbolic because there's 3 paths that you can take, 3 different dungeons you can explore that will get you down into the lab. There's 6 different plot hooks, so there's six different characters on the cover, depicting all the different factions that are like there's a changeling for or oh my god, I locked up. Hold on, I have to hit save here, and I have to hit save here. OBS and Adobe have been fighting each other a lot lately, so I've been having issues with it. I have to shut down the program and fire it back up again. It should be fine. But yeah, anyway, if you buy the adventure and you read through it, you'll recognize all the little symbolism that's sitting inside of the book cover. But you know, when you're just looking at the book cover on DMsGuild, that's where we'll publish it. It's gonna be like on the front rack, right, of searches and stuff like that, like new stuff. It's gonna be about that big. So it looks like a demonic face right now. And, you know, Ultraloths are pretty fucking cool. So as you zoom in, it's actually an environment and a dungeon and tunnels that lead down to it, and the vegetation and stuff that's being fogged over by the pollution from the necrotic fog, the miasma that gouts out of the opening that bonds Mabar to Eberron. And this is all in the Carnwood, which is already haunted anyway. And there's so many refugees and veterans that have been displaced due to the last war. Now that the war is over, it's swords to plowshares, and so the Karnath government is kind of putting a blind eye to all the migrants and displaced soldiers, basically creating homesteads where it either fell apart hundreds of years ago and never recovered from because the infrastructure has been crumbly due to the wars, or it's in what would normally be considered undesirable territory. The Carnwood is haunted, so they're setting up shop along that forest ridge line is a kind of a taboo bad idea, but these refugees don't have anywhere else to go, and no one's fighting them to take it. And basically the Karnath the sheriffs that oversee different regions of the countryside, they're basically like, you know, if you take care of the place, I don't have any reason to bust your chops. Welcome to Karnath. And but they keep complaining that people are going missing, and now there's reports of monsters like undead and creepy stuff happening in the woods, and they want someone to check out to see if the rumors about it being haunted are true. So like the default plot that your characters can have is that you're deputized to go check that shit out. And if you do a good job and you clean up the issue and you don't make a big stink of things and it goes away, then maybe we can lean on you for the future. So you're opening up a campaign plot line for you to become part of like the Talenta Reclamation Project or whatever, of getting all the halflings out of southern Karnath on their dinosaurs. Like that could be something you evolve the campaign into because the sheriff trusts you, because you're taking care of business for him on something that is undesirable to resolve or even think about. He's fighting halflings. He doesn't have time for this shit. But there's 6 other plot hooks. Like one of the plot hooks is you know exactly what the ritual is. The 12 are funding it, and the dark necromancers that run everything behind the scenes, right? So the 12 are actually funding it, and you're part of a Wetworks team designed to go in and eliminate the necromancers that are ignoring their cues to check in. They've gone rogue. You have to kill them, secure the area, and keep the ritual stable until backup shows up. Actual ritual people show up to help resolve this thing, but then you'll get paid, and you'll be on the inside of doing assassin shit for the 12 as basically a wet ops team. So if that's the kind of campaign you want to run, you can get into that through here. Plus it has Dominion, because you can take control of the fortresses that defend the necromancy lab if you want to. And there's a whole mercenary group that's like, we didn't know there was undead going to happen in this, where we don't like what's going on, so you can like social influence the mercenaries that are supposed to be defending their necromancers to then turn on the necromancers and help you fight the demons that are coming through the Mabar portal. Pretty fucking cool. Yeah, it's cool. I'm going to Karnath soon to deal with one of those their backstory shit. Oh, Karnath is a cool place, man. Karnath is cool. But yeah, that's the adventure. That's what we've been crafting. It's honestly, I've been at it for about 2 years. It's been a casual pseudo side project, slow burn. It took a while for us it took months for us to get through the playtesting with different teams, and then we had other DMs that were playtesting it, giving us feedback about stuff, and it's probably about 100 pages. It's 2/3, maybe 3/4 at this point way done editing. And then I'll do all the page layouts, and then we have to make sure all the map stuff is finished so that we can cut the map up into bite-sized ideas that can fit on a page. So that I really like the 4E edition adventure formatting, where they really tried to keep all the information concise and stuff, like the pictures and the maps were facing descriptions of the content. So I honestly have no idea how well I'm going to be able to break that down, or what kind of a page formatting I'm going to need to be able to keep it bite-sized like that. But I'm excited to find out. Maybe in about a week. I think right after Christmas through New Year I have the week off, and I believe I'm going to be formatting the layouts for the Light of Xeraxis adventure that's at the end of the Spelljammer book that I've been creating, and it's the conversion guide for using my Spelljammer mechanics in a live fire exercise of the playtesting I did using the Spelljammer mechanics and Light of Xeraxis at my playtest table, and so that came out well. So we built it out into a book and built all the rules, and that's where my artwork is in the morning, Monday through Friday. But once that project's done, then this Eberron project becomes my Monday through Friday morning project, and I'll be working on martial powers on Mondays and Thursday nights. But also because I have a playtest for martial powers, and then there's also like art. There's like casual projects and artwork and stuff that I can be doing on the side as well that I can allocate to Mondays, Thursdays, or Saturdays, depending on what nights I don't have playtesting on. So I'll be juggling. I'll have a little less time on screen, which I'm sad about because I love streaming, but it's for the noble cause of making sure that the shit that I make works as intended, and the intention is to make it fucking cool. So it's worth the time and the effort and the incredibly slow burn cooking of my stuff. But god damn, if I wouldn't do it any differently if I had forever. So I have to assume that I'm being gifted these ideas so that I can complete them before I die, not while I die. So I can trudge forth in confidence that the pace that I maintain is for the strongest thing I can provide and to be the most proud of. Anyway, ramble on, sing my song. What you got going on, man? What level's the team? I like Carnathy. They're a cool little society. Burst your belly there, buddy. I got my fire burning behind me. I love it. I got a wood burning fireplace about 5 feet away from where I sit, and I love feeling it cook. These are called fresh dead. They're people that were killed since the manifest zone was created, and when they die, they get infested with these spores, like dandelion spores that drift everywhere out of the manifest zone, and wherever it hits, it causes rot, and from the rot will grow a couple different types of plants that are all Mabaran by nature. So like it's like a seed, so it hits Eberron soil, like it hits Carnathy soil, and it causes it to decay and basically rot, kind of like a wither bloom, black green sort of Magic the Gathering rot effect of like bio-necromancy. And from it, then it cools and hardens and crystallizes into this grit that you can use as it basically has like the price of silver when you do rituals for like necromancy and darkness spells. So it has a lot of commerce value. But there's also like mushrooms that grow out of it that if you drink the tea, it gives you resistance to poison, and there's a moss that brews in the belly of freshly killed people, and or any creature, honestly. But zombies are made out of people, So the goop that goes inside of them is when you hit these things, they burst. They make a splash area of this fungus, and it stinks, and it's poisonous. So it causes you to make a saving throw against the stinking cloud spell. It's a second level spell. Basically, if you fail your save, you lose your actions that turn, and all you can do is move to get out of the area. So otherwise you have to make a save the next round too. So when you hit this thing, it just bursts this poison glop everywhere, and causes anyone that was in melee combat with it to basically lose their turn if they fail their saving throws. So it's a fun little mobile combat trap, like treating like Warforged machinery and living constructs and stuff, treating them like mobile traps that when you engage with them in certain ways, they do different stuff. I think it's a fun way to be able to play around with like how to mix and match like combat and exploration challenges inside the same event. You know, to make things obstacles as well as like active threats. It's kind of fun. Anyway, that's the way I like to think. So that's the kind of stuff that we imbued into this adventure that Andy and I wrote. But yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. So yeah, that's what this cottage cheese stuff is that's dripping out of its belly. It's that it's called Letharia vulpina, and it's basically a moss. It'll just grow on anything. And there's this other stuff. If the crystals settle on bones, it will warp them into Razorvine, like from Planescape back in the day in second edition. They had it was as strong as steel, and all its little leaves were sharp, were basically razor blades. So, thank you. So if you stumbled into a briar of razor wire, it'll just start shredding you. This stuff spawns out of the bones of people, and of course, this is a necromancy lab that's been here for hundreds of years that had been intentionally forgotten about, and the forest overtook it. But there's a whole shitload of unmarked graves of victims of dark rituals that shouldn't have been happening. And as the manifest zone expands and the soil gets converted, it animates all the bodies that are buried underneath. So there's like rupture points where undead are clawing their way out of a mass grave and just kind of rip themselves out of a hole in the ground and start attacking your characters. And fun stuff like that. Like neat little action RPG, like little visual vignettes, and now you have like a mob of undead to kill. So, and if you have like if you're using small team tactics or like squad combat, and you have the mercenaries on your side, you could do like a little squad of like 20 zombies or like skeletons versus like your team plus like 6 or 7 mercenaries. It's a fun thing that you can do. I like that Dominion style of play, and I've been it's been a while, but I was streaming the development of mass combat mechanics that were designed to do Dominion style squad combat like that, and I was using Descent into Avernus as well as Horde of the Dragon Queen as kind of showcase examples of how it works. And we got through playtesting, and it all went incredibly well. And then Spelljammer happened, and I pumped the brakes on it because the vehicle mechanics that we had created for the mass combat system, so you could use it in Descent into Avernus, they worked with Spelljammer too. We're like, holy shit, because like we figured that Spelljammer would be a much hotter iron, or a much hotter topic for a much longer period of time, considering the majority of answers to the system is to just translate second edition into 5th edition and just reference all the old documents. But I wanted to build something that was uniquely designed to work with the mechanics of 5e that were introduced in the adventures that Wizards put out in 2022. So I pumped the brakes on the mass combat and Dominion system, but it's still on my Patreon. You can go down a link down below, and you can find the in command of guilds, armies, guilds, and kingdoms. It's a read-only Google Doc right now, and it's still in its alpha format. But if you've been seeing my Spelljammer stream and you're seeing like the in-level polish that I have in my work, you'll see where the ideas that are inside of that document are being carved partially by the Spelljammer book. The Spelljammer book is helping reformat and simplify mechanics that are in the Mass Combat book that I have on my Patreon. And you can just, anyone can just come by and check it out, and it's open to the public. It's a read-only document. It's not like you can walk away with it. And it's only active while I'm still trying to figure out what the mechanics are, so I can have people playtesting it and give me feedback on it. That's a good way to do it. It worked amazingly for Shadow Dark, and they made $1 million on a Kickstarter. So act like the people you want to be. That's big dick energy. So that's how I want to play. Pardon my French. But I think I'm pretty happy. I want to work on his legs a little bit, and then I think I'll be content with this boy. And we'll move on to the next, which will be the worst of the set, the fucking Long Dead. God, they look so stupid. I am embarrassed that's my art. So God's willing, we'll fix it tonight. You know, my muse, she's telling me, hold on, let me catch up. Eberron is one of those worlds I've carried with me to a few other systems. Yeah, have you tried with Cypher? I ran a Warforged Reclamation campaign in Cypher for about like 10 months. It like leveling wasn't even an issue. Just keep throwing experience points and let them build new artifacts. So like they could just build their own levels by building things that gave them the powers that they wanted by just being equipped with mana. Fucking cool, man. Eberron, Cypher. If I ditched 5e and just D&D in general, if I got to that place, I would definitely dive into Cypher system, because there's, I think, a lot of the things I like to tinker around with, I think can be translated into Cypher pretty effectively, and it's just such a fun system. I'm basically just waiting to see what Wizards does to decide if I'm going to jump ship or not. I love the IPs of WotC and just D&D in general. And it almost feels like somebody I love is being held hostage by a psychopath, Hasbro. Hey, there's Tex. What's up? That would be good, man. That is a natural fit. Blades in the Dark for Sharn. Heists, very nice. I've been tinkering with heist mechanics for 5e. But they're not there yet. Largely framed around flashback, the 5-second idea of it is use flashbacks to grant inspiration points that the team can use collectively to resolve their current threat. And then there would be a process of having prep time. And stakeouts and bribery and all the prep shit that you have to do to be able to perform a heist. The amount of time that the team spends on that as downtime activities is the amount of instances they can have the flashback to trigger inspiration dice when they're trying to get through the safe or like dodge a cop or get away or whatever skill challenges they're going through. It's super simple. But I also have a resource mechanic for how to use espionage to accumulate those points, which is that's in the In Command Guild's playtest content that's on my Facebook. So if that stuff sounds cool, you check it out. But I'm not trying to dissuade you from Blades of the Dark at all, my guy, because that sounds fucking righteous. And I wish you fantastic success. I feel, I gotta say, I haven't played Path of Exile in a number of years, but I've been listening to Diablo 4 player experiences PoE for the first time, live stream thing, and I'm in love with the heist system. That, like, how I knew heist exists, but it's so fleshed out now. It's such an expansive mini system It's just an entirely different game inside of Path of Exile. Like, it's completely different from like Delve, where you're taking a mining cart down to dig up artifacts and treasure while you're fighting undead monsters in the process. God, I would run that as a 5e game in like just like that, in a fucking heartbeat. But there's so many different ways you can mix different game systems into doing things that they weren't intended to do, but making it super cool. Like that's what I do. That's my jam. That's the stuff that I geek out the most about. My muse was telling me, yeah, I've done a Cypher, worked out well, and oh yeah, Blazing in the Dark for the high style type of game. Yeah. Blazing in the Dark, yeah. Blazing in the Dark is gonna be dope. Hey, Ked Up, how you doing, my guy? Yeah, you heard it. You probably heard me, Ked. Yeah, if I bail out of 5e, I would go back to Cypher system. It's obviously evolving. I think a lot of the ways I think about like manipulating mechanics or manipulating resources, I think I'd find a lot of natural, intuitive things that are intuitive to me. I think I'd actually be able to express really well using the stats and the edge and the different powers and effects and artifacts that you can use. I think I'd probably be able to build some really interesting tools and different campaign themes around that, but I would have to really hard shift gear out of 5e into it. So, but yeah, if I ever decide to walk away from the D&D IPs, then that's the place space that I would definitely be roaming inside of. I will definitely hit you up if that happens. Seeing all the drama stuff. I only knew about the AI one. There, I think this guy's done. I like him. I think I need a little bit more dribble. I don't know where any of that started. I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff going on, probably like video games and stuff right now. What's up? Oh, hi, Zara. Or are you drawing a pre-existing one? So this is Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. This is for just to show the new folks here. Welcome to the mix. Hey. I created an adventure with some folks called Crystals of Mabar. It's an 8th level adventure for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's in the Eberron campaign setting in the nation of Carnathi in the Carnwood inside of a manifest zone that leads to Mabar. We are currently on our 180th episode of me building all the maps, all the tokens, walking through all the mechanics and all the shit that's super cool about this thing, all the NPC, the plot hooks, the rewards, and we're just about done with the editing. So this is one of the undead. It's called a Fresh Dead. The manifest zone, the Mabar manifest zone causes undead to become intelligent, and basically, the area this is taking place has a history of burying mass graves. It's been a while. Manifest Zone fires up. It animates all the bodies that nobody knew were there because they forgot about them over the years. And so there's a significant undead threat going on. Your team is charged with trying to your 8th level. So you're about a third of the way up the ladder. A little bit more than a third of the way, almost halfway up the ladder. And so you're pretty heavy hitter, so you can deal with undead and extra dimensional threats and shit. So depending on who your organization is, there's 6 different hooks, and just depending on what jive it fits for your team, or you can just roll a d6 and just everyone can have a random plot hook, and you can do a one shot with them gating into the final dungeon just to do a run and gun tear apart campaign run. It wouldn't be a campaign; it'd just be a one shot. Or you can back all the way out to the very beginning of the content as early as 6th level and really milk it and get to 9th level at the end. So there's a lot going on with it. I don't know specifically what I'm talking about tonight, but I always talk about something. What I wanted to say earlier before I got myself down a rabbit hole was that I'm getting really close to done with the artwork for the Spelljammer book, and my muse is suggesting to me that I start shifting gears before it publishes and start doing Eberron in the morning, because I still have some technical work that I need to do with the maps and stuff, and having a morning grind might be a good way to make sure that I can pace through the workflow, and maybe switch my Mondays and Thursday night art streams to doing the Spelljammer art that I typically do in the morning. I've been doing Spelljammer because that book is so close to done. It has so much artwork that I need to get it off of my workbench so I have room for this when the edits for this is done, so I can start building this, plus the Martial Powers book that we've been developing. I need room for playtesting. So I gotta get Spelljammer done, which is why I've been prioritizing it so heavily. But it's down to like 6-7 paintings. So I think after the holidays, wherever I'm at, I think I'm gonna downshift to doing Spelljammer in the evenings, and then switching to Eberron. That's just what the energy feels like right now. Don't hold me to it, because I'm not 100%, but right now I can see myself sliding into that, because I think Spelljammer is going to get published in January, pretty much no matter what. It might be very late January, but I still think it's going to be Jan. And even if it's like the first or second week in February, I really don't care. I just want it done right, but the shifting of the energy in the new year feels right. So we'll see if that continues to grow. I'm going to keep my priorities as they are currently, but as soon as that book's off my plate, Eberron's going to be in the mornings anyway, so it'll just be a couple weeks difference of time at most. Anyway, changes on the horizon, guys. It's been a long road for a lot of these books, man. I keep building these big books as flagships for me to anchor other things too. Like the Color Mana stuff that I have down in the link down below, there's like 6 books in that set now. And Martial Powers curves right into it, so that would be number 7. And then I have Spell Point Sorcerers to do, as well as Spell Point Artificers to do. That's going to take us up to about 8 or 9. So then I can do Pacts and Patrons of Strixhaven. That'd be number 10. There's like just a fuck ton of stuff I can still do with MTG crossover content. I'm in love with that stuff, which is why I'm like, I don't know, if I'll ever be done with 5e, because I love the MTG IP so much, and it's been such a joy to design ideas from it. Just love it. But Eberron is my default setting for my campaign. I've been running in Eberron for well over a decade. So, like, I feel at home in Eberron, but I'm obsessed with MTG content. It's such a... Anyway, I think I'm done with this guy. So let's just let him go for now. I'm going to put an X at the end of that to indicate that he is ready for color prep. Maybe I'll do a color prep next week. We'll see. The intent was to kick through all these things. I want to. What time is it? It's 8:30. I have an hour. I've got another hour of playtime, so I think... where is it? Oops. Let's see. Nope. I'll work on all these eventually, but I really want to work on this guy. This is the one that I want to play with right now. This is a mini boss that's in the graveyard. If you decide to use combat encounters in the graveyard, you can find your way into a temple, a mausoleum, and it has rows of sarcophagi, and there's a massive 10-foot sarcophagus that's basically like the altar inside of this temple. And when you walk in there, there's a bunch of undead soldiers that are basically paying tribute to the altar. And when the team there's this thick miasmic smoke effect in the room, so it can be. They'd have to get in a little ways to see it. They'd have to get in deep enough to be threatened to engage in combat if they don't, depending on, like, they have basically like one round to take things in before they're going to get jumped by undead. And so they can catch sight of this massive sarcophagi, but this super boss, he's like he's basically like an 8-foot undead Hulk that rises out of the sarcophagi and is the boss fight, with all his little add-on zombies and bone, like little skeletal soldiers, and as well as like there's whites. So all sorts of good stuff that's running around, depending on how hard your team can hit. You can ratchet it up or scale it back, but this is the boss fight for the cemetery. I wanted to spend time working on filigree. Because I love doing filigree and little designs like this. But whatever, there's debates on AI, people not knowing how well a trained artist can produce little bobble effects. And Kat, I know you're a pretty damn good artist, so you probably know what I'm talking about, of being able to just render out neat little things. And whatever that D&D fighter art was, that was questioned whether it was AI or not. The guy apparently had 2 weeks and about a $2,000 paycheck to make that painting. That's the typical going rate for like Magic the Gathering card art, for example. If you're an artist that gets paid to do that stuff, you're gonna pull about $2,000, $2,500 per card that you produce, and you could have anywhere from there we go. You can have anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 months to build your set, whatever it is. But you're sending them proofs and you're getting approval and you're being given color. Like, I could do it because they give you a color guide. Like, these are the colors that you need to use to work with the set that we have. They're planning it. They're doing color planning. So amazingly, even though I don't see color, I could, if I ever get fucking good enough, then I would be able to also be able to do card art, which is incredibly exciting to me. But detail work, when you're really comfortable with rendering details and kind of just letting things flow, being able to create neat little details like this doesn't take a lot of energy, and it can be done really quickly. But there's also the issue of having these angles here where there's an inconsistency in the form. An artist has to spend a lot of time knowing their angles and working with perspective. You could be really, really good with light, but not be very good at spatial proportions and foreshortening. So like you can miss details, but be rendering everything by hand, and there will be imperfections there because you're hitting your skill wall. We were talking about this earlier, that you'll evolve in the middle of a project, and suddenly the stuff that you do is just better. And I would say little detail works like these is stuff that I evolved into over time, because I had to do, I did shitloads of character portraits as a side hustle, and I burned out on it eventually. But before I did, it really taught me to build little baubles and details, because people fucking love baubles and details. It's like a major selling point. So I've paid a lot of attention to that spatial awareness and being able to render symmetry at odd angles to be able to sustain that intentional look. But if you go back like 4 episodes, you'll see me just basically wish this thing into existence from a cloud of lines. And so then I fade it out like this. Now I'm going into higher render details just to lock down the anatomy of what it is that we have on the page. So then I can drop color underneath it and blend it all together and have a finished colored piece. And this is one of the tokens that's included with the adventure. Since this is going to be a combat scene that you're potentially offering to your team, then I'm providing you the resources for you to have cool visuals and shit. So but I'm solidifying and increasing the detail that's inside of the model here. And that's just a natural part of the process, but as a result of it, there's going to be skews in symmetry. But my color theory isn't nearly as strong as most of the Magic the Gathering. That's what holds me back, is my concern, not even potentially my actual lack of color as a limitation on what I do. It might actually not be a limitation at all, but I have not psyched myself into a space where I am willing to put a portfolio together that I feel would be worthy of having their attention. So I'm hoping that over the next 5 years, as I get into Kickstarter projects and start doing artwork like this for those, that I'll hit enough level ups during the process that I can build a neat portfolio from those projects that I create. Anyway, ideas, thoughts. These are things that happen. What were we talking about? I just woke up. Oh yeah, rendering details and stuff, right? So yeah. So you can be you can be getting world-class gigs, depending on how your style of art is, and it's a style because it's not rendering true reality. You know, it's not rendering true reality because there's perspective issues and foreshortening problems with details. But that doesn't mean that the artist isn't legitimately creating that stuff. And it just unfortunately feels like AI. But if you go back and look at me creating this thing, I'm actually talking about that AI process of starting off with something vague and then sharpening into more and more detail about what the structure of it is. And I'm carving out all the noise and then chiseling in details as we go along. It's the exact same rendering process that you see on DALL-E or whatever. So it makes me chuckle about when people are concerned about AI art. It's like, it's just because I've trained myself for decades to be able to render art in that same manner. And I'm like in a D&D program, you'd have a random generator that you press a button and it renders out an entire town for you. But I am, in this analogy, 10 pages of city rolled random tables to create a city. And obviously I'm going to do that eventually. But that's a perfect analogy for how I create art versus AI. It's the same process. I just do it in analog. Well, ironically through a computer, but if I had color vision, I would have been a painter with acrylics, because I think acrylics are fucking great, and that's what Clyde Caldwell used, but I don't see color, so the only way for me to effectively be able to do color vision that I know of is Photoshop. And we'll go through that process once we start rendering details, which is why I was talking about doing a color rough next week for that Fresh Dead, so that folks that are checking out the channel can catch a glimpse of like what I do, how I do it, and the kind of thought processes that I have to go along with it, considering that the obstacles and limitations I'm not seeing color are to be able to produce color effects anyway. Like I'm confident enough at this point in being able to create art in color that I don't even question that I do it well. Like it's like occasionally I fuck up, and sometimes people on stream catch me fucking up, which is awesome. But yeah, for the most part, I can reliably work in color, and the work that I produce, no one questions it because it's plausible. But I feel like I need to be better than plausible for me to be able to hit a win making Magic the Gathering cards. But if I did, my God, I would love to make some landscapes, man. I would fucking love to do some Bob Ross style landscapes for Magic the Gathering art. I would love that, love that, love that. So that is that is one of my dream endeavors of the moment. I'm going to pick this up. So I'm trying to build myself to that space. I think I'm pretty close. I think I'm close with my environment, my landscapes. I think I could probably get a gig. I just want to make sure that I don't know. I think I just want to make sure. I don't even know. I think I want to make sure is what I want to do. I also need to have more pieces. So, like I've done a lot of Bob Ross copies, but my environment skills have enhanced considerably since most of the work I had done first figuring out how to do Bob Ross work in the first place. I've evolved a lot since then. So it's not even really my best work anymore. But I also don't just do I don't just do environment paintings anymore. The goal of the project of me doing the 100 plus Bob Ross paintings was to learn how to integrate that style into my workflow for the fantasy book cover art that I want to produce. And so ironically now I find myself wanting to float back around to just doing landscapes, because that is, again, probably how I would end up doing card art for Magic the Gathering. And I think I really honestly have a decent shot at it, if I can get some decent compositions built, which is going to be a tangent I would have to take from my current projects of creating all these books that my muse screams in my head about at night. Get more done. Go, 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 go. Work, work. She will not shut up. So I do what she says. And I do them in the order that she presents them to me. But then, you know, she's got the Nintendo Power Guide upstairs on, you know, how to hit high scores on playing Phil the video game. So I'll listen to what she says. She knows the score, literally. I'm on hard ramble tonight, guys. Don't mind me. I love doing this shit. The more I ramble, the more my brain turns off. The more the muse she cooks. You know, she's here's the thing. Muses are these spirits of inspiration. But if you can get yourself to a place where you can turn off their brain, they actually get to paint for a little while. And as incorporeal spirits, without the with the drive and the passion to be able to gift. Wasn't this a TV movie? Like there was a muse that loved music and knew everything about music and could compose, just had the most amazing symphonies in her mind, but she's only a spirit. She isn't able to actually build these things because she's incorporeal. She's a spirit. So she passes these inspirations, ideas, and flavors of what she's thinking about, but she's eternally frustrated because all she wants to do is compose, or in this case, paint. And so the more I can turn off my brain and allow the machinery to run, the more she gets to sit in the pilot seat. And it's it's amazing for me. What do they call it? I can't remember the Hindu the Hindu phrase for it, but it's bliss. It's the act of experiencing bliss, and that is what athletes and artists experience when they dive into their autonomic reflexes and they turn off their brain and they just let instincts and the skills that they've learned through training to run on autopilot, reflexively performing the actions that they know they're supposed to do, which I don't know if officially is the reason why it's called martial arts, because you're training your body to act as though you are an artist and your weapon is your tool of creation, and the creation that you're building is survival for your team. The most efficient way for you during war to help keep your team alive is to eliminate the other as efficiently as possible. And the more you can turn off your brain, the Vikings knew this, the more you can disassociate yourself from the things that are happening, the more you're going to be okay chasing somebody down even though you just lost a leg. So you want to get into that fervor state, and that is one aspect of that muse connectivity that I gush about so frequently here in stream, but it really is. It's just it's almost a spiritual drug. It's amazing. Mark, what's up, my guy? Oh yeah, it sure did. Hey, what's going on, Heretico? It's good to see you, my guy. Yep. So I'm on Hard Ramble tonight. Don't mind me. But yeah, I'm thinking about moving Spelljammer to the evenings once I get down to the last few paintings, so that I can move Eberron forward to Monday through Fridays, and I can focus time just rambling, because I ramble at nights, right? I talk about all sorts of shit. And most of the time I'm talking about Eberron or projects I'm working on, but if I'm hyping into the release of the Eberron book, or the hyping into the release of the Spelljammer book, doing it in the evening might actually be a really good idea, because I can just mega geek on whatever the subject is that we're talking about on the artwork that day. So that's something I'm thinking about, because I mean, I'm recognizing that as like if I move into Kickstarters in the not too distant future, then this is going to be basically the medium in which I'm going to be communicating what's going on. Sensibly so, because I'd be building the fucking book here for you guys, and we'd be talking about it. And I suspect the people that would show up to the conversation are people that back the book. So I'm really looking forward to that happening. My goal right now is to accumulate enough people subscribing to the channel that when I start doing that, they'll help fund the book, so that they can have some buy-in on the stuff that we do here together at night. Obviously, if there's a Kickstarter, it'd be like the only thing I'd be working on. So on Mondays and like mornings and nights and on weekends, it'd be rocking through that Kickstarter, because I'd be getting backing for it. But that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see this process evolve into. I just think that'd be super fucking cool. Like in the words of Matt Colville, I don't think anyone's ever done that before. So, but I think it's fun as hell. So I think I'll be successful with it. But I'm liking this detail work. But see, it's not perfect, but I focused a ton of my skill development into being able to mirror symmetry, again, at odd angles, because that's what, that's one of the first things. That's what I absolutely. Oh my god, I was so gifted. I was not gifted as in I'm awesome. I mean gifted as in I received so many gifts in my life, and this example is like I became interested in D&D as a role-playing game first, but when I became interested in D&D, Robotech was on air. I would run home after school and watch Robotech at 3:30 every day. And no, it's 4. Thank you, in St. Louis. And then Palladium Games got the license to make the Robotech role-playing game while the show was still being aired. So, oh man! So I picked that up, and it was during this time that I fell in love with doing character art. Clyde Caldwell, Larry Elmore, Jeff Easley. Those were like my Parkinson, Keith Parkinson. I think those 4 were like my top 4, and God, I wanted to be like them. Artwork is amazing. And that locked in. I was already a doodler in class, because I couldn't see what was going on the board half the time, so I was bored out of my fucking mind. So I learned to stay quiet and just draw all the time. They just pushed me through the system. I'm lucky I was smart, that I understood what was going on, and blah blah blah. But I got pushed, and so I spent most of my time just drawing. And so once I found D&D and I fell in love with all the artwork, I'm like, I could be that guy someday. We'll figure it out. And I got to work, and let's do this like that. And so the first artwork, I wanted to do the first things I ever wanted to like learn how to draw were Veritech fighter ships from Robotech. The skull ships, the Momospita, Cyclone transformable cycles, the Veritech Alpha and Beta composite ship, as well as the Zentrated battle pods. Like, that's the stuff. And then I got into battle attack, and it was just more of that. But all the specific architecture, like the organized creation of all the mechanics of that part, that translated into armor on D&D characters very well. And then it got more and more organic and more flesh-like, so that I'm drawing, chicks in chainmail. I have to close and open the document again. There we go. So, yeah, that's where we are so far. And I'll be able to drop color in on that, and it should look pretty cool. But we keep working for now. Text? Oh, yeah, no kidding. Mutants Mastermind, huh? I have to find the right chance, that feels like. Yeah, man. Eminem, man, that's cool. I know that's one of your go-to systems, right? Ornatico, it's good to see you, man. Hey, Nitro, did you figure out what NPCs you wanted to have up in those trees that the characters rescued in the forest? I know that was something you were mincing on. Bum, 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 bum. This curves there, this curves here. That curves there, so that curves here. That curves there, so that curves here. There we go. Thank you. Found it. And then I can replicate the pattern by... So I mirror it here to here. So if you just saw me do that, if you didn't, go back and check it out. So we had this pattern here, and I had to fill it in over here, right? So what I had to do was I had to take this little block here, and I had to mirror it here. And that created that pattern. Then I had a bridge for this middle point here. And then I had to mirror this pattern here over on this side of the armor. So I had to mirror. I had a original sketch. Like, this is just something I threw together as just like filling space, right? It'll sort itself out. It always does. And so that got dropped in there. Now it feels like kind of like a scale, like a scale mail underneath plate. So that's like some heavy fucking armor. But the guy's like 8 feet. Go fuck yourself. So we got to like this dragon plate scale armor that's going on along his greaves. And so I had to reflect that over here by matching up these lines and these angles together. And then you can see here, like, this scale pushes up into this space here and here, like here and here. So then I have this thin line here, right, along the edge. So that becomes this center point here. And now I've got my point. I can sweep it up to match the angles of the form of the body. And that creates my bottom edge down here. And now that I have that center line, I mirror it back and recede around the form of the body. That is the process of replicating off-symmetry on forms like armor and stuff. And if you don't have good spatial awareness, you end up fucking up your pattern. But then the question is, how much work am I going to have to put in to go fix that pattern? Or can I BS it because it's close enough? And that's when people start wondering if you're using AI or not, because you didn't flesh out you didn't plan out the architecture of your patterns, or you don't have enough skill yet to be able to spontaneously replicate filigree through mirrors. Once you get to that skill level, then it's easy for you to drop color underneath it and then just fill it all in like a comic book. But like I said, I don't have nearly a strong color theory, so who's making Magic the Gathering art and who isn't. I'm just saying that different artists have different skills that they acquire, and I have specifically focused on getting good at generating filigree. Filigree and environments, those are my strong suits right now. I'm really thrilled about having been working on the Spelljammer book, because on my wish list of things to expand and evolve was my ability to create machinery and items, which the Spelljammer book is full of. If I'm successful here, we're going to build chainmail. That'll hang down here like that. And then I have armored kneecaps that'll go down into the skull face shin guards that we randomed ourselves into earlier. Actually, I think I'm going to have those stand out a little bit more here. We can get into these more in a little bit. Yeah, we'll get into that. That's going to be another good symmetry example. That'll be really fun. But you see how I expressed that? It's like, this is going to be fun. Like, this is like 3 years ago. Even 3 years ago, this would have been something that was more of a challenge for me to be able to match up that symmetry. But it's been something that I've focused so much attention on, that like a really good rock climber looks at an incredibly dangerous mountain and sees it. It's like, oh god, that's gonna be so much fucking fun, because they want the rush of the challenge of doing it. So when I'm looking at these filigree things, I get excited about how cool it's going to look in the end, because I have confidence that my reflexes are just going to guide me into successfully completing the task, because that's what I've trained myself to be able to do for God knows how many years. But we'll see if I eat crow, because I can always eat crow and embarrass myself in front of all my friends. Thanks for being here to watch me as I completely just face plant. That keeps everyone knowing that I am mortal. That has to bend. There it goes. Like that. Perfect. That feels good. Like that. There we go. Just like that. Maybe this iron shodden boot has a friend. Maybe his foot's over here. Maybe he's stomping on the neck of a little goblin. Goblins need friends too, you know. A big old bear paws. Sorry, I'm doing my my horrible Bob Ross impression. Boot. There it is, a little mound. This extends back. Bend this out a bit, so I need to forget about what that is. We'll work down here. I see you blocking in here like that. And then you curve out to wrap around like that, don't you? Yeah, that's where you are. It drops in here. That's where I saw that. Right there. see what this ends up looking like on this side over here. Got this cool mastodon sort of feeling going on here with this center line. It just feels like a trunk, like a war elephant. God, how appropriate. It's an 8-foot lumbering beast to have these mammoth leg shin guards. Yeah. This up here and it curves down like that. It clips off to the back here. Like that. Just get it lined up properly. There we go. Blips and dips. Boop, boop. And it's saved and for something. I had Photoshop crashed on me earlier, and I'm starting to have a mild concern that there might be some sort of drive degradation. Like maybe my C drive where the operating system is nested. Maybe that might be eroding. It's a mild concern. It's not like I'm going to wish it into existence if I'm right, but I like to listen to my intuition, man. That's from the outside sweeping in there, just like that. Interesting. There it is. It bubbles out. See that? It bubbles out. There we go. This one bridges up like that. Good. There we go. And this clips in, and that bubbles out there. So over here, there, very simple. An armored sandal. See. There's 1, 2, 3 claws over here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 claws over here. If I didn't catch that detail, I could get flagged for being AI. That's how picky people can get when they're scrutinizing whether something is being created for real or not. Sometimes the artist just fucking forgets to fix it. Or it's beyond their skill set to do it, and they just got to get the project done, and the art director is accepting it. There could have been a really nasty conversation with them about, hey, if you want to keep doing work with us, you need to get some architecture shit underneath your belt. Who knows? I'm not throwing shade at anybody, I'm just saying. When I approached Paizo at PaizoCon back in 2018, when I offered them my portfolio at the time, the one thing they said that is preventing them from hiring me immediately is that I didn't have a strong enough, my environments weren't strong enough. So if I can get good at doing environments, they would happily give me work. And then so I got really fucking good at making at doing environments with Bob Ross paintings. And then I found out they pay like $400 for a half page. It's like, never mind. But I got the skills. It inspired me to gain the skills. So God bless them. Maybe the rates have changed. I don't know. They used to have a really bad reputation for having really stingy prices for artwork. Which is a shame, because a lot of people like their shit. There we go. That feels good. And it's along the central spike. More level like that. There we go. That's what was missing right there. There we go. That was fun. Blip, 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 blip. Alright, back into the chainmail. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Wait, wait, wait. Almost got cocky there, would have got myself busted. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. Double futs. There. I think I can be content with that. Okay, cool. Chainmail. Curve stipple. I know the resolution here is pretty damn low, so I don't have to do a lot of work. But it's a little crescent shape that I'm curving. This guy's looking pretty Hassenpfeffer. Let's let that fade and blend a bit. God damn, this guy's hardcore. There, that feels pretty good. Ugh, love him. Love him, love him, love him. I hope you guys are having a good time with this, because I'm having a badass time. Let's build that sword. I'm gonna take a sip. What time is it? 9:06. I should be in my last 20-minute block here in a minute. Potentially, literally. No, 2 minutes. Cool. We're doing good. We'll finish this. We will finish this. Like that thickness. Once you get past the first foot of blade, it's just raw weight. Enjoy your 40-pound, 150-pound sword. Trying to melt down weightlifting plates in my mind to see how many of them I would need to have a pig iron sword like this. Come on, baby, hit that angle. Thank you. So fucking perfect, bro. Nailed it. Cool. I love this song. Alright, this is my last 20-minute kick. Knock it off. Thank you. Let's do that. I want to curve that down a little bit. I'll form the head. It's like a candle wick. It's infused with spirit energy. I can tell you're anthropomorphizing this right now as though it was Lenny from Monsters with an Elvira haircut sitting inside of a mech suit. I assure you that is not what's happening here, but I can't stop you from seeing it. All right, guys. 9:13. I think this is a good place for me to stop for the day. Holy shit, this has been fun. Hold on. I had a blast today. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning and hope to have a fraction of this energy tomorrow morning while I continue working on that gunner painting. And I'll be back. I think I'm back tomorrow afternoon to work on more Wilds of Eldraine conversion for MTG into D&D. I think that's where I'm at. Hold on, pull that up. Yep, pretty hoss. We're looking good here. All right, cool. We're going to call that there. Thanks a lot, everybody, for being around, hanging out with me, shooting the shit. It's been fantastic. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'll be back at lunch. I'll be here most 6 days a week, and they'll have something for Sunday post. So anyway, if you think this stuff is cool, you'd like it, stick around, like, subscribe, bell icon. I will see y'all on the other side. Thanks a lot.